Welcome to Youth Voices of Greater Cincinnati. I am Selena Lemons, and this is my partner,
Caitlin Klepper.
And our guest today is Miss Behrens. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
What inspired you to become a tattoo artist?
When I started tattooing, it wasn't really very popular at the time. It really wasn't popular for women to tattoo. I went to school for art. I have a master's degree in fine art. My sister had started tattooing, and she always liked art. She, at the time, I think was maybe one of two tattoo artists in Cincinnati. And I decided that I didn't want to teach college, which is what I had originally gone to college for, was to teach other people in college. So I decided that I would give tattooing a try. I apprenticed part of the time under my sister. I finished my apprenticeship in New Orleans, and I started working there. And when I started working in New Orleans, I think I was about the one out of 4 female tattoo artists there. Tattoos were usually reserved for, motorcycle riders, military people, things like that. So you didn't see big tattoos on women very much when I was in my 20s, which was 20 years ago. I have been a tattoo artist for 20 years now.
Do you design your own tattoos?
All the time. People will bring designs in. We also have Flash available on the wall, which is just pre-drawn designs that are at the shop already. Most people don't really use the Flash anymore. Lots of people bring things in, pictures on their phone, stuff they've printed out, things other people have drawn. Sometimes they bring rough sketches in and have the artists redesign things. So there is a lot of drawing involved, for sure.
What kind of challenges do you face as a tattoo artist?
Sometimes it's hard to draw things that people have in their head when they've got a conceptual idea and they want it translated into a visual idea. So that can be really difficult. Sometimes clients can be difficult, but
how and which ways are they difficult?
I think my most difficult client was one that wouldn't hold still, and she screamed like she was in a horror movie, like for real the whole time, and by the time I was finished, because she kept going, "Oh, stop, I can't breathe." And I said, "Oh, you'd be able to breathe better if you just stopped screaming like that." And she said, at the end she said, "Am I the worst client you've ever had?" And I said, "Oh, you sure are." But aside from that, most of the time it's really fun. People are always really excited to come in. People bring in really cute things when they bring in their own stuff. And I really like drawing on people. I think it's a lot of fun.
Can you refuse to do a tattoo for someone?
I have. People have come in who have no other work and want tattoos on their hands or in very highly visible places. And so if someone isn't already very well covered, I will refuse to do those. I will refuse to do tattoos I know are racist, because I can, and I can. Because I am a private contractor, I can refuse to do whatever I want. No one's making me do anything, which is a lovely part of my job.
What is your favorite tattoo on your body?
I think the one that I have on my chest I really love. It's just because it's very pretty.
What's your favorite type of tattoo to do?
My favorite kind of tattoo to do? I don't really have I don't have like a style that I tend to gravitate toward. I always love doing birds and flowers. Birds and flowers never get old for me because you can do them so many different ways.
What's your favorite part of your job?
My favorite part of my job is when I draw something up. Someone comes in and they have an idea and I draw it for them, and it may be the subject matter that they wanted, but it's they look at it and their face lights up and they say, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I wanted.
What is the craziest tattoo you've ever done?
The craziest tattoo that goes down in history for me is Abraham Lincoln as a robot shooting laser beams out of his eyes. That's still the craziest one.
How long does an average tattoo take?
All of the tattoos are, it depends on size and detail, so there's not really an average time for a tattoo. You could do a fairly large tattoo that doesn't have a lot of detail in it, and it might only take you an hour, but you could do a tattoo that's, this big, and it'll take you 3 hours because you're doing the whole thing with this little tiny needle and with lots of different colors and lots of detail in it. All of the tattoos, the way we base how long something's going to take is by size and detail. So asking how long a tattoo is going to take or how much a tattoo is sort of like asking how much is a car or how much is a bag of groceries. It depends on what's in the bag or what kind of car you're getting.
Has there ever been an accident while tattooing someone?
Like a hiccup in a line, or you get those because people cough and people move, and they are not sitting on an easel, and you learn to correct as you go and figure out how to make those things work.
Do you do a lot of color tattoos?
I do a lot of color and black and gray tattoos.
Do you plan on getting any more tattoos?
Always. I've always got big plans for tattoos I'm gonna get.
Do you have an idea in your head of what you want your next tattoo to be?
I do. I think I'm gonna get some color work on my left arm, some animals.
Have you ever thought of quitting your job?
Not really. I really love my job. I have always had a hard time sticking with any one job. I've had a lot of jobs in the short time that I wasn't a tattoo artist. I'm not good at keeping jobs I don't like, so I really like this job.
What is your most painful tattoo?
Oh, the tops of my feet. Hands down. That was terrible.
What age did you get your first tattoo?
What age is the youngest? 16 with parental permission. That is legally what we are allowed to do.
Have you worked at more than one parlor?
I have only worked in 4. I've worked in the same tattoo shop now for about 18 out of the 20 years that I've been tattooing.
Who's the oldest person who has gotten it?
I would say there was we'll call her a young woman, but she was, I think, about 82 years young, and she got a butterfly on her foot.
What's the most interesting story behind a tattoo?
What's the most interesting thing? Gosh, I think it's all pretty interesting from the outside and all really just regular stuff from the inside. I think having that creative control is the most interesting thing for me.
What is the longest tattoo you've ever done?
Oh my gosh, 10 hours.
Was it all in one sitting or was it broken up into different groups?
This particular tattoo was all in one sitting. I've had tattoos where I work with the person for 1.5 years on the same tattoo. Some of it is because they come in, once a month and it just takes longer. But yes, this 10-hour stint we stopped for lunch and then we got back to it for another 5 hours.
Where was the placement and the size?
It was his entire chest and then his entire arm down to just a little bit lower than where my sleeve stops.
Did they handle the pain okay, or did they?
Oh, he was miserable by the end. He was very, very miserable.
What's the craziest tattoo you've ever seen?
Ever seen? I have to say my friend did a really funny tattoo. It was think it was a sea lion on fire stuck in a spider web. That was kind of crazy.
How many colors can you have, like a white tattoo?
You can, but they're not going to be white like paper. Whenever you apply a tattoo to someone's skin, after it heals, you're always seeing it through that tinted window of their own skin tone. So white will often take on more of a creamy almost. It can look like scar tissue. It can completely go away after it heals. It's one of those. It's a color that is fragile and one of those we can't guarantee the results on.
What's like the most common tattoo?
Oh gosh, tattoos have they have fads just like any other thing, like clothing or what's popular in hairstyles. We have fads of what's popular in tattoos. For a while it was the tribal on the lower back. We all know everyone has their nicknames for that. Or tribal armbands, or for a while it was a bunch of stars all over the place. Right now I think feathers with birds exploding off of it are really popular. For a while, the little dandelion fluff with the little seeds blowing off was really popular. I'm trying to think of what's popular now. I think floral work has become very popular. Muted colors have become very popular. And then traditional is on again, off again popular. That real Sailor Jerry looking, eagles and roses, that is always popular in circles, and it's just an age-old tattoo look. So people like that one all the time. And that kind of comes and goes in waves as well.
How did your parents react when you told them that you were going to be a tattooist or wanted to be?
Well, my mom wasn't really excited about it because I had gone to school for so long, and this was something I didn't technically need a whole lot of schooling for. You do apprentice under someone, just like electricians or plumbers or tradesmen apprentice under a master. You apprentice under a master as well. But yeah, she wasn't super excited about it at first. It's definitely grown on her over the years.
Do you think your mom will get a tattoo?
Oh no.
Why do you think she wouldn't get one?
She's very much into you are absolutely perfect the way you were born. So she doesn't have her ears pierced. She doesn't dye her hair. She would not get a tattoo. It's just a personal preference. My husband doesn't have any tattoos. He likes them fine. He just doesn't have any.
What training did you have to do?
Training? It varies from artist to artist how they want to teach. Sometimes shops will take on an apprentice as an entire shop, but most of the time artists take on an apprentice. You work so closely with someone over usually at least a year-long period that it's good to know whether or not you are going to have a good dynamic with that person, if the way they work is the way you want to work, if the style they work in is going to mesh with how you want to learn to do things. It can be kind of hard to break into the tattoo industry because tattoo artists aren't all about making more competition for themselves often as well. So,
do you have any questions for us that you would like to ask?
Well, we did talk a little bit about how you found me. I was also wondering what's your interest in tattoos as far as why are you interviewing me? Why not, another profession?
I wanted to interview a tattoo artist because that was something I was thinking about going into.
Mm-hmm.
And what schooling you had to take and what I would have to look up to figure out what schooling I would probably have to take and figure out things like that.
Well, at present, there's not a lot of formal art training, which is why it's really important if you decide to get a tattoo later on down the road, that you do your own bit of homework. You look at tattoo artists' portfolios. You make sure the shop is a clean place that has ways to sterilize their equipment. Any reputable shop has no problem with taking you around going, here's our autoclave, here's how we log things, here's where we throw away our sharps, and we'll give you a little bit of a show around. All of the artists at our shop have portfolios online that you can look at through the shop website, through their own personal their own personal doing on Instagram and maybe their Facebook pages or things like that. There's nothing in the rules that says you have to be a good artist to be a tattoo artist. The only thing and by they, I mean the health department, the only thing anyone is looking for is that you don't make people sick. So it is very, very important to look into the artists to find the artist that is going to match the style of tattoo you are interested in getting.
And you asked, why you? I liked the art that you were making and the color and the way that your style and preference of what tattoos you do.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I personally want to interview because my grandma just got a tattoo recently and I was just kind of interested in it.
I'm going to get closer.
I wanted to interview because my grandma recently got a tattoo for her dad who died. And I was just kind of interested in it because hers was birds and it had a bird and birds flying out of it. And a little thing for her dad. And it's just interesting in how how it worked and stuff, and the stories you get told, and how personal it is, with the client and with the person.
It can, it can be really personal for the people getting it, and some people they want a tattoo and they want it to be pretty, and it's not necessarily personal, but some people are getting things because there's some flaw in that body part that they don't like. For instance, I tattooed one lady who had injured herself during a marathon, and she ended up losing her big toe as a result, and kind of had a little PTSD about the whole thing and how that loss had happened, and couldn't even look at her foot without having these feelings. So the entire time I was tattooing her, she wouldn't look. She'd glimpse down to make sure she liked the design, and that was it. And when we were finished, she cried, and she was so happy. And she said, well, now I can't stop looking at it. Now this has become something I have taken control of this situation for myself. So some of it is really personal and really important, and some of it's just fun. Some of it's just good fun.
Thank you for taking your time and coming out and teaching us more about something we wanted to learn about.
You are welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for watching the show. That was Youth Voices of Greater Cincinnati. Till next time.